It's a good morning. I'm so excited to be here and I'm really excited to talk to everyone. If you're watching me on TikTok, I need tacos. If you're not watching me on TikTok, I need tacos because I'm hungry. I'm hungry. And that's kind of what happened. But it's interesting. Um, I started a fast yesterday, Sunday night at midnight, and I do this every now and then. And I started to do one a few weeks ago and it just didn't stick. And I was like, okay, fine. So what's going on? And again, I do a fast. Who here has ever done a fast? Throw me a little love. Throw me like, hey, yes, I've done a fast. What kind of fast have you done? This has nothing to do with horses or healing or any of the work that I do. Like, just make sure you're ignoring that. None of this stuff is connected. So, but it's true. It is. So if you've done a fast, let me know. I'd love to hear from you. Throw something in the comment. Yes, I've done a fast. Give me a thumbs up. Give me a heart. Give me a little like on this on the TikTok if you're watching there. I started because I really felt like everything about me was starting to feel like really squishy, and everything about me was starting to feel like I was never going to ever like break through this threshold of where I was with my weight. It's not something I've ever really dealt with before, as far as like in a sense of like, oh my God, my clothes don't fit, my bras are digging into my shoulder. I mean, I actually look, I have like wounds on me from where my bra is digging in. I feel like one of those donkeys in a third world country that's pulling the harness. Like, you've ever seen those where those poor little donkeys or the poor horses are pulling a cart that's like way too big for them, and their harness starts digging into their flesh and it's horrid. And so that's what I'm dealing with is this feeling. And I'm going to be really crass here for just a second, and I'm just going to say it. I'm like, man, how do fat people do it? And then I'm like, wait a minute, I'm a fat people. And it really hit me hard because there's some different, different things that are not working the way that I would normally do. I'm really having a hard time with this. And I never thought that in a million years I would have a hard time with like legit being overweight or having weight on my body, because I'm always out with the horses and outside and working on the farm and doing this and lifting that. And I looked back because I've tracked my weight for years, and I think in one of my other lives I said I have a Polaroid of a before picture of me from 2003, like before. And then I remember when I was going to Fiji, I was like trying to fit into these great bikinis, and I was gonna look amazing, and I had before pictures for that. I was gotta make sure I'm always got that. So I was looking at it, I was like, man, I have a history of just doing this, right? And then when COVID hit, and I bet I kept pretty fit. And in 2019, my business was doing really well. My retreats had really taken off. Like, I was starting to gain traction. Like, people were really starting to understand like the healing that horses can have with people. And the retreats were incredible. Like, because I was really, really dialed into this business, and it was so cool. And I was running Spartan races and I was doing all this stuff. And then when COVID hit, I just looked at my weight, and it kind of went like, remember that, who knows, remembers The Price is Right? Remember that show? And it had the little guy with the pickaxe, and he goes up the mountain as you try and guess the price of like a can of green beans or some shit. And it's like, do, 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 do. And they kept do, and it got that little Yodel music as he's going up the thing. Well, that's what my weight started to look like at the beginning after COVID. And it never came back down. It dipped a little and everything, but it never really came back. Does anybody having any issues since the pandemic that you haven't quite cleared yet? Like mental health issues, confidence issues, relationship issues, work issues, financial issues, body issues. I know that when COVID hit, all we did was order tacos. That's all we had was tacos. All we did was order food in and work. And when we were doing that versus like getting out to the gym and getting out with the horses and going and doing things and stuff, it was like, what's actually happening here? And I guess well, I'm on both of my phones, so I can't show you. I'd show you like the little, and it was like it would do this little number, but it was going, the weight kept going up. And my confidence started going down, and then my motivation started to wane, and then my desire to just kind of relax and chill and sit on the couch started to get more. And then my business started to, suffer in certain ways. And my vibration started to wane and drop. And that was really a huge hit for me. And I started doing some inside work on myself. And that's when I really hit pay dirt, is when I started really looking at what I needed to do for myself. Who here gained weight during the pandemic? Who gained that COVID-19, baby? Well, I doubled it. I gained COVID-19, and then I said, I'm an overachiever. Let's double it. So, and I looked, and I put on about probably close to 50 pounds. And can you shift and move more? Yes. Yeah, that is the whole piece. But the piece is that not just about actually like getting up and just moving. It's about really understanding why you are the way you are, or why you've allowed the circumstances to be the way they are. And some of the stuff isn't even your shit. Like, just some of the stuff isn't even yours. Like, think about some of the things that have happened in your life. If you're on and watching, throw me some comments, guys. I want to hear from you. Like, tell me, like, oh, thank you. You're very sweet. Tell me, like, what are some of the big struggles that you've dealt with since the pandemic, since the coronavirus? I know a lot of us had businesses that went under. A lot of us had a lot of us had good things happen. But what were some of the shifts? Like, I switched everything to a virtual, and has the platform, has the scene changed, and it's coming back again. It's like I had this 10 acres and 2 houses and this incredible property and all of these things. Jack, no, you can't ask. And so please keep it PG here, please. Thank you. So I had all these amazing things, and I was like, why do I have all of this property? Why do I have all of this infrastructure and things that I have to pay for, when all I'm doing is virtual stuff? So I got rid of the property, and I put my horses in stables, and they were cared for, so I could focus on my private coaching business and all this stuff. Well, when I put my horses out somewhere else, when I separated myself from where I was with them, it really separated me from my soul's purpose. Good morning. Good morning. If you're joining, make sure you're throwing me some comments, asking me some questions. Please keep it PG and relevant to the topic. And so when I separated myself from where I was with my horses, I really was I was really distraught. And it really put me in a space where I was not confident anymore about myself as in my physical space and my body and that kind of stuff. And it was terrifying. Who here has had a shift in your identity that scares you? Incidentally, it was 10 years ago that I woke up to a Facebook message to find out that my husband was a crook. I mean, who here has ever woken up and gotten who here likes surprises? I know that I would say normally that I would do, but at this point I was like, I'm not really sure I like surprises, because I got a really big surprise in the form of a Facebook message from a strange woman about my ex-husband. And she said, you might want to talk to him about where he's getting his money. And I was like, man, if he'd been cheating, that'd have been way easier. Who knows if he wasn't already doing that too? I just realized I had been spending 14 years with somebody I had no idea who they were. I had no idea who they were. Good morning. Thank you. Thank you from England. And when you are married to somebody and you don't know who they are, it can really and transform you. Luckily, I didn't have any exposure to like his illegal activities. But so I didn't end up like having any legal exposure, but I had a lot of guilt. I had a lot of shame around it. I didn't know what was happening, and I ended up homeless. I ended up living with my old personal assistant and going back to waiting tables at almost 40. And I lost everything, and I had to start building everything from scratch. It was devastating. I mean, talk about some humble pie to be waiting tables at 40 when you used to have, someone driving you around and different things like that. And so I got to work and started creating these incredible programs. And fast forward 10 years, and a lot of heartache, a lot of rejection, a lot of pain, a lot of suffering, a lot of attracting, a lot of mistakes, a lot of mistakes. Oh my God, a lot of mistakes. And putting myself in a position where I'm like, and 10 years later, how are things better? Well, I'm living life on my terms. And even though I have put on this weight, and I know what I can do about it. And I know how I have to shift my mindset and shift myself. So how do you make that shift? How do you do it? First off, first thing you have to do is you have to recognize that you want to make a shift, that you need to make a change. And right now, I'm running a really incredible special on my weekend getaways. So if you want to come and visit me, even from England, there's planes and everybody's traveling internationally now again, which is fantastic. So I acquired a new facility. I'm down in West Palm Beach, Florida. And I have about 9 days to really pull some by June 1st. I really have a huge deadline looming and what I need to do to make sure I hit that deadline. And not only for my physical body, but for my business. And I have been playing this little Groundhog Day tape for myself for 10 years. And every year it's like, and you can look back now at historical data. What have you been doing for the last 10 years that has shown up as a pattern for yourself? And the one thing I know for sure about fasting and doing intermittent fasting, good morning. Good morning. What I know is that it does a reset. Since 2013, I've been doing intermittent fasting and prolonged fasting. And the first time I did it, I was, oh, fabulous. Oh, that's great. Thank you so much. Yes, I've spent a long time. I've been working with Tony since 2011. And in 2013, I did my very first prolonged water fast. I started at Sunday night at midnight, and I went till Saturday at lunch. And I just did what he told me to do. I didn't know idea what was going to happen or anything. I was in Los Angeles at a Tony Robbins event, incidentally, and I was talking to a friend of mine, and he was explaining to me what he had done and how a friend of his had shared this idea of doing it from a spiritual perspective and from a gratitude perspective. And so he said, start at midnight. He said, don't drink too much water, but just, a little bit in the morning and sip a little bit throughout the day and then a little bit at night. So just really manage the intake of everything that you put in your body. So that's what I did. I literally took him to the T, to the letter, at exactly what he was doing. So good morning. Good morning. If you're watching, throw me some comments. I want to hear from you. Have you ever done a water fast or prolonged fasting? Now, I'm not saying making suggestions. I'm just sharing with you my experience. Disclaimer here. And so I don't even remember if I lost any weight that time because it wasn't about that. It was about really just resetting myself. And I remember flying back. I was in the Admirals Club in LA, and a place I had no business being with I no money. And here I am in the Admirals Club, but such as it is. And I saw like a little plastic cup full of crackers that someone had gotten from the little buffet snack bar, and had come down and they'd eaten some, and then that was it. And there was like half a cup left. And I started looking around, and I started seeing like all of this abundance sort of in different places, in different ways, in different areas. And again, I wasn't really, back then I was actually really pretty fit. So I really wasn't in it for weight loss. I was in it because I needed to have like this spiritual experience, this divine awakening inside me. And so that was my thing. And so I started the big lesson the first time was I had this incredible awareness that that we are surrounded with abundance. We're surrounded with food. We're surrounded with support and resources. And especially if you live in a first world country, especially if you live in the United States and you're in the kind of the lucky sperm club, right? As Keith Cunningham would say, like we're fortunate to live in a country, right? We're fortunate to live in a space where food does, where there's resources are abundant if you are resourceful. And so I started looking around and I realized that I was not using my level of resourcefulness in a way at as high a level as I could. And just as I'm having this conversation, I'm taking myself back to that time and I'm like, wow, I'm falling back into that because it's an old pattern, you guys, old patterns. And sometimes you need to do a deep reset, a spiritual reset, a fasting reset of some kind, where you hit the reset button and it clears the slate of your belief systems. And fasting helps me do that. And I wasn't really even going to talk about this till I was further into it because there's so much judgment. Anytime I tell someone one of my goals, I posted on here not too long ago. It's like, this is what my starting weight was, and this is my goal weight. And then immediately people are like, well, how tall are you? And I'm like, why do you want to know? Like, so you can judge my goals, like, so you can make some kind of ascertainment around it. Like, what's the point? Right. So if you're watching, make sure you are commenting, letting me know where you're from. When I do these lives, as I get more people on and more engagement, I will do really cool things like give away prizes and do really cool stuff like maybe even give away a retreat or an experience with me with the horses, or access to one of my masterminds or an essential oil. I mean, look, I have a few. So I will always be throwing out ideas about giving away some prizes and doing cool stuff and engaging you guys, because this isn't just a monologue for me, like telling you some things about you're here. You have access to me. Take advantage of it. Ask me some questions. Ask me anything. Well, as long as it's PG. I don't want to hear anything about like what kind of underwear I wear or anything that's inappropriate. I'm not going to engage with those kind of conversations. In fact, that will get you banned and blocked like that. But if you have something that is pertinent to the conversation and that would be thought provoking, like, yeah, throw it up, man. Let's have a conversation. Because like fasting is the topic of today. And I'm 36 hours in or a little bit more than that. But I don't know how long I'm going to go this time. Everyone's like, well, how long are you going to fast? I don't know. 36 hours at least. And however much longer I'm on my life. I may go walk over to my refrigerator right after we're done with this and get something to eat. I don't know. I just know this, that I have some things I want to accomplish, some things that I want to do, and it's time to shift out of the mindset and hit the reset button. Fasting hits the reset button for me. Fasting hits the reset button for me, and it also allows me to connect with source at a deeper level and allows me to connect with my horses at a deeper level. And I have about 50 something pounds to lose. Like that's a lot, you guys. I'm carrying a lot of weight around. And I literally am carrying a bag of horse feed. Bag of horse feed is 50 pounds. If you ever picked up 50 pounds, they even ask you that on job interviews. Can you comfortably lift 50 pounds without, risking injury? Yeah, I'm doing it all the time because I'm carrying around 50 pounds of extra weight. And I was like, it's so, then ask me about the horses. Because I'll tell you something, when you're overweight, it's tough to do physical shit with the horses. I'm going to tell you right now, it's really hard to be athletic and move and be where you need to be. When to be, where to be, why to be, and what to do when you get there. And in the horse world, one of the things that we say is a responsibility to the relationship is that you need to have an independent seat, meaning you aren't relying on the reins or their mane or them to maintain your balance on their back, and you are not relying on them on the ground. So independent feet. So you're being on the ground and being where you need to be for them. So how can I show up in my relationships if I'm not in the best shape in every area of my life? Because this isn't about fasting. This is about relationships. And that is why I do this, is so I can hit the reset button for myself and figure out what, and I realize that like this has nothing to do with weight loss or food or anything. It has to do with my relationships to my horses and relationships to the people that I serve, relationships to the people that want to come and experience a retreat. If I'm out there huffing and puffing, what kind of example am I giving? So, and I'm being really raw here because we all have times where we kind of fall into a space where we're not our highest and best selves because we have allowed something to creep in. We've allowed the specter of doubt, the ghost of fear, something to show up in our world that doesn't serve us. And what is that? For me right now, it's I've allowed myself to be really overwhelmed. I moved down to South Florida, and you knew it in relation to anything with horses. My daughter's crazy about horses. Oh, yes. Yeah. Andrea, drop me a message and we'll talk, because I'm doing a fire sale on all my retreats and experiences right now because of my move. And that's just it. When I got down to South Florida, I was hit with this, and I had to move the horses, and I had to move the horses. And then Maverick got an abscess in his eye. And I was like, it was kind of like death by 1,000 cuts. And it ate up all of my savings. It ate up like all of my bandwidth. It was taking all of my time. My business was not going. It was like all of my time was spent taking care of the horses. And that was the whole point of me getting down here, is so I could have like board the horses so I could focus on the business. And then I realized, wait a minute, the horses are my business. My health and my wellness is my business, because that's what I want for you. So to do this fast now is so important, because I'm moving to a new space. I'm running an incredible sale on my retreats and weekend getaways. So I know people are going to be coming. I have 12 spots open right now. That's it. 12 people at this price. And then I don't know what I'm going to do. Because I right now I need to get to the next place in my life. Yes, excellent. Yeah. I've got this incredible new property, 5-bedroom, 5-bath, beautiful house. The back door has Dutch doors, which I think is really cool because I can open the top door and the horses can stick their heads in. I already have like this cool plan for that. Right. And so you come and you stay on site with me. And those are going to start at the end of July. And if I'm still like in apartment mode or COVID mode or anything like that, I gotta be ready to serve you guys. That's my integrity. So this fast isn't about me necessarily losing weight or feeling better about myself, which those will all happen too. But really what the important piece is for me is that I am able to be my highest and best, so I can connect better with my horses, connect better with my clients, download more efficiently with less resistance from source, and feel good about myself. And when I'm feeling good about myself and I'm confident and I'm sure, am I going to be able to serve y'all at a better level? Am I going to be able to set a better example for what it takes and what you need to do to be successful and feel good, or have a good relationship with your horse if you have horses, or a relationship with my horses if you come and visit me? Like, all of this ties in. None of these things are disconnected. There is nothing that is mutually exclusive when you look at your wheel of life. Your body is connected to your relationships, is connected to your business, is connected to your time management, is connected to your finances, is connected to your spirituality, is connected to the ankle bone's connected to the foot bone. It's all connected. And so this fast helps me hit the reset for myself so I can come and serve y'all at a higher level. That's it. Growing me to serve you. Now, guess who gets to also benefit from this? Me. I get to benefit from this. In fact, I get to benefit first. But ultimately, you get to as well, because that is my integrity. I want to give you, I so want y'all to come and experience these horses. You know why? Because they changed my life, because they saved my life, because they taught me about patience and leadership and understanding and compassion and the difference. I'm going to be talking tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern time. I'm going to be talking about the difference between empathy and compassion. I learned both. I learned patience. If I didn't say patience, I learned patience from my horses. And right now I'm learning patience, because this 50 pounds didn't jump on my body overnight. It's probably not going to jump off of it overnight either. And saying, this is the way I am today. It's going to be tomorrow, whether I choose to do something about it or not. So what can you do today? What can you do right now, today, in this moment, to hit the reset? 9 p.m. would be 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 2 a.m. your time. But I'll post it, Andrea. And don't worry, obviously you and I need to connect. So make sure you're dropping me a private message so we can connect. So we can get you here and experience these horses, because I have 4 very different horses. I have 5. She's a little one, my little one. It's very much like me. And I have 4 horses, 2 extroverts, 2 introverts, 2 in the way that are instinctual in the way they process information, and 2 that are intellectual in the way they process information. And so I have Dante, he's like my 1,200-pound Tony Robbins. He's an extrovert, and he is very much in your face. We call him the greeter. Dante's amazing. We've got Bella, who is very much like me, never met a stranger, not afraid to talk to people, just really gregarious, but also like, am I okay? Has a tough time with boundaries and focus. And then I have Maverick, who is my stoic, regal, sovereign king, but he's very much an introvert, questions himself sometimes, but not because he doubts himself, but because he doubts his ability to care for his tribe. Then we have Trace, who's my thinker. And then Little Tuesday, of course, who's like the confidence building mascot of the entire, she's the glue. Not really. She's what holds everything together, and she's amazing. And understanding yourself, like Warren Buffett says it, Oprah Winfrey says it, Deepak Chopra says it, Eckhart Tolle says it, that so many people say the number one thing you need to know, if you know nothing else, is to know yourself. And even my dad, in his industrial age mindset and in his limited wisdom, he said, know yourself, like yourself, and be yourself. And I know this about me. Carrying extra weight around is not Jen. That's not me. That's not who I am. It's just something that happened. And so to do the fast is what's going to hit the reset button for me. So I have no resistance. Now, the weight loss will happen as a byproduct. But at the end of the day, it's really about connecting with your soul. And I did that with the horses in such a deep and profound way that it changed my life forever. My original goal was to go to the Olympics. I wanted to do 3-day eventing, which is like triathlon for horses. You know, out there, the big cross-country jumps, and then in the arena, and then the stadium jumping, and then dressage. It's a very intense competition. Very intense. And what I discovered was that I had so much more to offer other people by helping them learn how to be confident. It takes a lot of confidence and vulnerability to get on here and say, hey, I'm 50 pounds overweight. Like, aren't I supposed to be like this athletic equestrian and out there outside with the horses all day long? Well, yeah, that's really who I am. So to know and to give yourself grace when you find yourself outside of who you are, just no judgment. Just go, it's okay. Just come back. Just come back. And if you want to come and experience this with me, just message me, go to my website or go to my link in my bios or I mean, come on, there's 800,000 different ways to reach out to somebody. If you want to get in touch with me, you will find a way. Like my website has my cell phone number on it. You can call me, message me. And I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear what you have to say, how important your reset is. And 36 hours in, I haven't even thought about food. You know why? Because I'm carrying 50 pounds of it around on my body. So I just look at that and I go, wait a second, what am I going to do today to be my highest and best? Well, today, my goal is to attract 12 people to the retreats. That's my goal today. That's the goal today. And to stay with my fast, to run my 5 miles, to go to my yoga class, to go out and play with my horses, to meet with people and talk about my business, to make sure I'm posting on my social media, make sure I'm taking care of everything. And oh yeah, by the way, do things like, laundry and the dishes. All of those things are on my list today. And I've been up, I get up at 4 and I don't go to bed till like 10 or 11. But the sleep I get is unbelievable. I get great sleep. And I take a nap in the afternoons normally. I normally have, I do a meditation and then I'll take a power nap. A legit power nap, you guys. Like mastery. I should do a whole video on how to master the power nap. But 36 hours into my fast, now probably 37 now that we're yip yapping, but it just keeps going. And my focus isn't on what am I eating? What am I not eating? What am I eating? What am I not eating? But I do realize how often it comes up and triggers me throughout the day because, hello, good morning. Because we have so much around food that it's not just something for nourishment. It's a social, like, oh, you want to go out to dinner? Can we just go and not have dinner and just hang out? Can we just, it's like out of Goodwill Hunting. Let's go out for coffee. Well, why don't you just say caramels? Because the coffee is arbitrary. That's the big piece, is that it's almost arbitrary when you talk about the from a food perspective. It's almost arbitrary that because we use food and we use the mealtime as a place to connect, open floor plans and houses, like be in the kitchen, right? Back in the day, it was like the kitchens were in the basement where the servants' quarters, right? But me, I cannot wait to get into the new property because I've got an eat-in kitchen and it's really cool, like European style kitchen. And I can't wait. It's going to be so awesome. So if you're interested in coming and visiting me, learning about things like how to do a spiritual fast, how to do it in a way that really will move you, how to pull limiting beliefs instantly and permanently through theta healing, how to work with the horses and understand who you are, why you're having difficulty in certain relationships. If you have a relationship that you are having any difficulty in, whether personally or professionally, you must come see me. You must come and work with these horses. They will teach you so much about why you're having conflict, why you're having boundaries being crossed, why you aren't able to stick to whatever it is, and to live your highest and best. So I encourage you to reach out to me if you're interested in fasting, if you're interested in personal development, healing work, understanding leadership skills. There's so much you can learn through working with these horses. And so much you can learn because I've spent the last 20 years studying horses and the last 12 years studying personal development. And when I get into something, you guys, man, I get into it. I start reading books. I'm always reading a book. I get into it. I go full out because I want to serve you guys. I want to serve you. I want to say, when you leave my space, I want you to go, oh my God, that was amazing, because you will. And it's not me. I'm channeling source. This isn't me, and this has nothing to do with me. But I want you to think about that and think of the power that a horse could have, regardless of what you're doing. Like, this is why I'm fasting. This is why I'm 36 hours into this. So I'll be going live again around the 9 o'clock hour, 7:30 and 7:30 a.m., 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will be going live tonight What did I say I was going to talk about? Oh, yeah, the difference between compassion and empathy. So that's the topic for this evening's live at 9:30 p.m. I will definitely be posting it. If you want to come out and experience the horses, find me, message me. I'm in West Palm Beach, Florida. I'm not that hard to find. Kind of tough to miss me. So thanks for tuning in. You all have an amazing day. 36 hours into my fast. I'm not going to talk about the weight loss part of it until a little bit later. So make sure you're tuning in because I have no idea when later is going to be. But I'm going to be following the fast. I'm going to be running my 5 miles every day and staying with everything that I've been going and doing. And I don't want like no negativity around this, or I'll stop talking about it. Like, you guys want to throw me some hate, I'll just delete it. I don't, because this is all about sharing something that is going to give me a positive result and hopefully will give you one too. Yes, you are more than welcome. Andrea, I hope to speak to you soon. Thank you all for your comments and support. And remember to believe in yourself. It will change your life. Take care. Bye.